Mr. Tafurir, thank you very much for this interview with Kurdistan24. Let me ask you, first of all, about the relationship between United States and Kurdistan. How do you see it?
Well, I think there's broad recognition in the United States that the Kurdistan region is one of our most important partners and allies in the Middle East, and we have a strong relationship, military to military relationship. There's been a lot of support from the US military for the Peshmerga. I'm also president of the US Kurdistan Business Council, which is a nonprofit organization based in the United States, and we work with American companies that have invested here in the Kurdistan region. And as your audience likely knows, there are a number of American companies that have been here for more than 15 years, who've put a lot of investment into the Kurdistan region, in developing the Kurdistan region and developing the oil and gas sector, in hospitality and other industry sectors, and they're very excited about the prospects here. But I would also say that this is a very challenging time for the Kurdistan region, especially given the lack of budget support from Baghdad, and given the fact that the pipeline is closed and the Kurdistan region can't export oil right now. And so we recognize that this is a tough time for the people of Kurdistan.
Right, Mr. Tafurir, during this conflict between Hamas and Israel, the Shias militant from Iraq, they attacked American bases and American military in Iraq and in Syria. Do you expect any reaction from America against Iran?
Well, I think the United States government has talked about the fact that there have been more than 50 attacks on US installations in Iraq since October 7th. Obviously, that shows that Iranian-supported proxy groups in Iraq are taking action against US areas in some effort to retaliate against the US for its friendship with Israel. That's obviously not going to deter the US both from its continued alliance with Israel, but also deter it from maintaining its presence in Iraq, in my view. That just because these proxy forces have done these attacks, it doesn't mean that the US is going to change its stance in terms of its support for the government in Iraq and its support for the Kurdistan region. And I expect that if those attacks continue, there will be a military response from the US of some sort against those who were responsible for those attacks, especially if they end up in causing serious casualties to American personnel.
Right, Mr. Tafurir, as you know, the Iraqi rulers, they don't respect the Iraqi constitution. They create too many problems for KRG or for the Kurdistan region. Can USA play any role to solve these problems between Iraq and Kurdistan? And Kurdistan is a real allies and a real friend for United States?
Well, I would hope so. I'm not in the U.S. government. I can't speak for the U.S. government.
I'm asking about your opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I think that not just the U.S., but a lot of the countries that are friends with the Kurdistan region, a lot of them have consulates in Erbil. They have personnel in Erbil. They have that presence in Erbil because they believe that the Kurdistan region is important and its success is important. And all of those countries, not just the US, should be helping mediate a reasonable solution to the areas of conflict between Erbil and Baghdad. And my personal view as an international lawyer and someone who's worked in Iraq for many years is that the way out of this crisis is to follow the constitution of Iraq. That Iraq has a great constitution. The people of Iraq voted for the Constitution in 2005. It went into force in 2006. It represents a number of compromises among the different stakeholders who were involved in drafting and supporting the Constitution. And there's not enough adherence to the Constitution, to those compromises, to the text of the Constitution. And that if all parties in Iraq follow the Constitution better, that would be the solution to these problems.
Right, Mr. Tafurir, let's go back to the militia in Iraq, which they attacked the American bases. Do you expect any reaction from U.S. Army or from U.S. government against Iraq?
Well,
Because
sure.
they attacked
I mean, the U.S. frequently does airstrikes on groups in Syria and Iraq that have posed a threat to U.S. personnel, and I don't think that's going to stop. I think that the U.S. will continue when the U.S. sees a threat to American personnel, and it can identify who is responsible for that threat, and it can do a limited airstrike that will degrade the military capacity and the potential for violence against Americans, that the U.S. will likely do that. And that has to be, that has to send a message to the proxy groups that Iran supports here in Iraq and to Iran that the U.S. isn't going to stand by and let our personnel be attacked without us responding in kind.
So, how do you see, as a lawyer, international lawyer, how do you see the future of Iraq? Are we going to see peace and security and stability in Iraq or not?
I don't have a crystal ball.
I'm sure
Yeah.
you read the condition of Iraq and you know about the condition of Iraq.
I've been working in Iraq since 2006 when
Yes.
I was with the State Department in Iraq, originally in the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. And Iraq has had its ups and downs, good times and bad times. And my best guess is that will continue, that we'll get past this crisis and things will get better, but there'll be new challenges. And I hope that the mindset of people here in Iraq changes and that they become more committed to finding ways to work together to share the great resources that Iraq has, to better maintain security in Iraq, to have better treatment towards minorities in Iraq. And all of these things are protected in the Constitution. Minorities are protected. Individual rights are protected. The Constitution set up a democracy, but that democracy needs to become more vibrant. The people of Iraq need to become more committed to that democracy. And when their leadership, especially in Baghdad, is actually taking orders from countries outside of Iraq, instead of doing what is best for the Iraqi people, the Iraqi people should vote them out and vote in better leaders.
Right. Dr. David Tafurir, thank you very much for this interview with
Thank you.
Kurdistan24. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you
so much.